Make sure you double tap the screen on the way in. We're talking about the AOC. Yeah, Alexandria Cortez is her name. And she displayed an act of bravery today. She sure did. And I definitely want to see what MAGA thinks about it. So as you enter the broadcast, let your presence be known. Speak your peace, speak your mind. We're going to be reacting to some content today. AOC just recently said that a Charlie Kirk, somebody from the likes of Charlie Kirk, is ignorant and uneducated. And she definitely slammed the entire bipartisan system for electing to have a Charlie Kirk Day, a memorial day for him, October 14th. And I think that's an act of bravery. Everybody may not agree with AOC. Everybody may, um, some people may feel a certain way about her policies or her opinions on certain matters. But nonetheless, she did what a lot of people are afraid to do. You know, as a woman of color, um, a woman from the Latin community, the Latino community, she spoke up. She spoke up. And of course, you know, her ideals in regards to reparations, I disagree with. You know, some of her other ideas I disagree with, but nonetheless, we got to draw some awareness to what she had to say. And I'm going to be reacting to my own material in this one because I got all my sources in one place. And I wanted to meet MAGA where they at. And they like to go ahead and cruise along these vertical stream YouTube Shorts algorithms. So, hey, here you have it. Somebody who's speaking up on it. What's going on, everybody? Ahav is in the building. Elijah P. Let me see. Who else is in here? Faith to Faith is in the building. What's going on? Yeah, so what we talking about today? It's Charlie Kirk Day. It's official, y'all. Yeah, I'm definitely back with this is a very newsworthy day today. Very newsworthy day. So I'm gonna be reacting to what she had to say here. Let me go ahead and get y'all this. Let's go. About what AOC had to say. And as y'all enter the broadcast, make sure y'all hit the like button. And let's get to it, man. Let me go to what Alexandria Oscario Cortez had to say. That, by the way, that's what AOC is. This young lady right here, who happens to be a New York native. And a green. This New York native right here, she's a pretty well respected within the Democratic side of things. This woman has the potential to be the next presidential candidate on the left. And she more than likely would be. Unless, of course, ladies and gentlemen, there is no more Democratic Party after Trump's reign. You know, because that's what it looks like is happening. It looks like the whole bipartisan system may be disinvolved, but we'll see. So she's pretty good in debates when it comes to certain individuals she's going against. Now, y'all know me. I don't really choose to pick one side or another. And I'm not saying that I'm trying to venerate this woman in any way, and I'm not trying to venerate her, but I'm definitely trying to give her her props for the work she put in and the courage that she displayed in this current political climate. And she actually spoke truth, right? Let's go. You know, anything like that. But what she had to say right here is, you know, in my opinion, just downright true. And I'm gonna see if y'all believe the same thing, right? And yeah, she's from the Bronx. This is a Bronx native right here.
And you know, the truth is the truth. It's not even an opinion. Let me correct myself. The truth is the truth, and we can't walk on eggshells. When we can bring up substantial evidence and facts and regarding anything that's taking place in society, we should feel comfortable at least bringing out the facts, right? Without having to sugarcoat it. But let's go.
You know, a lot of the right wing conservatives, they're afraid of this woman. They don't really want to debate her. Why? Because she has facts. You know, she goes to actual facts. She goes to what's really going on. So just to give you a brief rendition, rundown on who this woman is. Isn't this crazy? A New York number just called me out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's weird.
So as I talk about her being from New York, why I get a spam?
But let's go. Let's fast forward to see what she had to say.
I'm surprised that there was a unanimous bipartisan decision to have a honorary day for Charlie Kirk. I am surprised about that. The left, for the most part, has been pretty quiet. They've been pretty silent about everything.
And both sides are racist or suspected racist and white supremacists, left and right.
And the fact that, you know, she spoke out shows some levels of courage, because it seems like everybody is pretty much staying in line, you know, going with the status quo. But anyway, let's continue.
Green for his graciousness. Today, the Republican House majority brought to the floor a resolution honoring, quote, honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's assassination was a horrific and vile attack and incident of political violence. And condemning the depravity of Kirk's brutal murder is a straightforward matter, one that is especially important to help stabilize an increasingly unsafe and volatile political environment where everyday people feel more at risk.
Somebody in the chat says, what about the black supremacists? Black people aren't the ones trying to clap the president. Who tried to assassinate Donald Trump? What color was he? He was white. Who took out Charlie Kirk? So you don't see us battling each other for supremacy. Why? Because we know we don't have supremacy in this country. So we're not fighting for it.
We can deeply disagree and come together as a country to denounce the horror of this killing. And it is not a license for the abuse.
Mikey Bear says, and we're going to go to her speech because she brung it out. Mikey Bear says the left. Well, the left also voted to have Charlie Kirk Day. So, I mean, we don't see two sides at this point. They're all the same. You know, even if you want to blame the left, we don't care. We see two sides of the same bird because they voted for Charlie Kirk Day. So what are we talking about? Anyway, let's go.
Use of power and whitewashing of American history.
Today, yep, she talked about the whitewashing of history. Hear what she had to say. Let's go.
Actually important to help stabilize an increasingly unsafe and volatile political environment where everyday people feel more at risk. We can deeply disagree and come together as a country to denounce the horror of this killing. And it is not a license for the abuse of power and whitewashing of American history. Today's resolution only underscores the majority's recklessness by choosing to author this condemnation and honoring on a purely partisan basis, instead of uniting Congress in this tragedy with one of the many bipartisan options to condemn political violence and Kirk's murder, as we did with the late Melissa Hortman. Instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant.
Now, Dirty MAGA's already pissed off, claiming that she's lying. So if we're able to go to the actual facts, if we're actually able to go to Charlie Kirk's own words, will that make a difference? Will that make a difference for MAGA? We get to witness this. See, MAGA has become a case study, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, and I say this all the time, I don't vote left or right. They're two wings of the same bird. That's my message, always have been. Let's go.
And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
Ooh, she talking spicy. Mommy is talking spicy. She called it what it is. She called Charlie Kirk ignorant, uneducated, and he has a bigoted legacy. Yeah, and we're going to fact check her too. Is she right? Yeah. We're gonna definitely fact check her. This is what she said.
Far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. It is equally important that Congress does unite to reject the government's attempt to weaponize this moment into an all-out assault on free speech across the country.
Ooh. She said that they're using the Charlie Kirk situation to weaponize freedom of speech against the entire country. And you know what's interesting about that? A lot of real MAGA or real Republicans, let's say that, they are against freedom of speech being taken away. Even some of them are like, hold on now, Trump. Slow down a little bit now. We don't want our freedom of hate speech to be taken away from us. Yep, this woman was born in the Bronx, raised in York Heights, New York. Ocasio-Cortez graduated with honors from Boston University. So you can say what you want to say about this young lady, but she has earned her keeps. She's earned her position. I may not agree with everything that she represents. Well, one thing's for sure, this is a big deal when you have a respected politician speaking out in this manner, bravely speaking out.
All in the name of Charlie Kirk. President Trump and the FCC are now cynically threatening to shut down ABC and...
Somebody said, we know these lives are fake. No, vertical streams aren't fake. What vertical streams are is they're reaching a new audience, right? You're reaching a new audience of bigots and racists, people who are interested in this stuff pretty much. But yes, it's fake in a sense of, yeah, it's not the same as a horizontal stream. It's not the same as far as, you know, authentic growth or anything like that. It's just reaching new people. And sometimes I like to go reach new people. So that's what this is.
Any outlets who give airtime to the administration's political critics. This is a disgusting attack on the American people and the very First Amendment rights that define us as a country. It is also the ABC Corporation's responsibility to refuse to embolden and participate in this corruption and escalation of censorship. We continue to pray for Mr. Kirk's family and loved ones in the wake of this terrible act. I am thinking especially of his children and his wife, whose grief cannot be measured. And with that, I yield back to the gentleman.
Now, of course, you got various media outlets, including mainstream media outlets such as Fox News. They're already saying that she smeared Charlie Kirk.
Yep, Fox News has already started. It's claiming that she smeared, and we're going to go there because if she smeared them, where's their proof? Because I'm going to go to what Charlie Kirk actually said about the civil rights movement. Shout out to Geraldo. Geraldo, thank you for the support. Says the facts that the masses still can't see, that is two wings of the same bird, show how good the powers that be did to dumb down the masses. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, you know, she's already getting a lot of pushback about what she said.
And she was very brave for what she said, because it's the truth.
But what she brung out, we have proof and evidence of these things being true. Now, they're trying to rewrite history, brothers and sisters. Some of you all may be wondering, why is a biblical channel really touching on these matters? Well, it's simply because, ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing new. They've always rewrote history.
Yep.
And our patriarchs have always spoken against it.
Now, with that being said, let's go to Fox News and what they had to say, because they claim that she smeared Charlie Kirk. Let's go.
She did condemn Kirk's assassination before using her speech to drag his legacy through the mud. Listen here.
Charlie Kirk's assassination was a horrific and vile attack. And the majority proceed.
Hold on now. Let me just show y'all. I got to drink MAGA's tears right now because they in here. Just MAGA tears, right? Just. Nothing like MAGA tears. Let's go. We back.
With a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
Let's bring in David Avella, GOPAC chairman, and Michael LaRosa, Democrat strategist and former press secretary to Jill Biden. Thanks to both of you for being here. David, to you first, what is your reaction to what you just heard from her on the House floor?
Well, what the Congresswoman is suggesting, Sandra, is that no one should get a resolution before Congress that praises their life or certainly condemns their death. It's unfortunate that she's chosen to make a political stand on the floor of the House when it's simply trying to honor someone who was killed in cold blood.
I mean, do you think there will be any condemnation from her colleagues?
Now, people are waiting on the receipts. I see y'all are anticipating the receipts. I'm glad, because we got those for you. You just stay tuned. And we're going to bring out what Charlie Kirk said out of his own mouth about the civil rights movement. All right? We're going to go there.
Is her Democrat colleagues on that, David?
Probably not the 56 that voted with her, and probably not even from the...
Now we need to see, did she actually smear Charlie Kirk?
Let's see. Did she lie? Because y'all call her a liar. A lot of y'all called her a liar in here. Let's see if it be true.
That's what the headline reads here. That's what the headline reads. Did she actually smear him when it comes to what Charlie Kirk said about the civil rights movement, right? I want to go to a source here to pretty much validate what was said from Kirk's own mouth.
Yep. Matter of fact, let's just go there. Let me pull that up. Yes. See, it's great to have the actual facts. Hold on. Let's go.
But let's just go with facts, right? Charlie Kirk, the Civil Rights Act created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
Now, did Charlie Kirk really say that the civil rights for our people turn into an anti-white weapon? Let's see.
This is his own mouth.
How do we then best fight back
Oh, my bad.
and withstand the criticism where they're going to say this is just a white lash, or this is just you being a white nationalist?
Right. Well, I mean, the simple answer to the white nationalist question is I'm not. I'd tell them if I were, right? But I'm just not. So that's really easy. I mean, there should be a backlash against the fact that they're being racist, because that's good. I mean, you shouldn't be able to be racist without accountability. So I don't have any problem with that. But I think there's lots of different tactics, whether it's lawfare, whether it's and kind of a creation, I think, over time of kind of getting.
Oh, we got more about what he said about the civil rights movement. So I see y'all in the chat saying, well, he's right. It is anti-white. Look, this is just the beginning. We got a lot of receipts on Charlie Kirk and what he thought about the civil rights movement, even though the internet tried to scrub a lot of the stuff, but we got it.
We need to really relook at how we've enforced civil rights laws. And again, I'm not saying that because I think we need to litigate the wisdom of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It was put in at a particular time to solve.
Oh, I've criticized it.
Yeah. But
that's
I mean,
Caldwell's thing.
Yeah, I mean, and Chris Caldwell is a colleague of mine, and I think it's fine to do that. But I think just as a political strategy, I think if people want to say, hey, there were absolutely real problems that it was addressing, whether you think it did it in the perfect way or not. But we're as far from that time right now as they were from the Wright brothers. So there's a lot of things that have changed in American society. We're not worried about people not being served at lunch counters anymore.
Yeah, and the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
Yeah.
So he says, to be clear, the civil rights movement is a beast that created an anti-white movement. So basically what Charlie Kirk is saying is that we should have never had civil rights, because somehow in his suspected white supremacist brain, he believes that us having civil rights, the right to vote, the right to, not be considered 3/5 of a man, the right, literally the right to have civil rights, created anti-white hatred. So we're better off not having civil rights, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, Charlie Kirk, on his podcast, he met once a week to talk about why civil rights was bad, why we shouldn't have had civil rights. Look, MAGA's going off right now. They're upset, but we're going to bring out the facts. Let's go.
As they were from the Wright brothers. So there's a lot of things that have changed in American society. We're not worried about people not being served at lunch counters anymore.
Yeah, and the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
Yeah.
So he wished the civil rights never actually happened. Now there's more. So did AOC lie on Charlie Kirk? Well, let's find out. Because there's more. And the irony of all of this, let me bring this up as well. The fact that Charlie Kirk has a day, Charlie Kirk Day, October 14th now. The fact that he has that, but he didn't believe that our people should have Juneteenth. We shouldn't have a day where we celebrate our freedoms. Isn't this Charlie Kirk saying this?
Okay, everybody, a lot of people are going to be saying Happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work. Have a good day.
What? Wow. So our people shouldn't have a federal holiday, but he should be memorialized. Why? Matthew 7:21. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. That's right. That is right. Now, Charlie Kirk met once a week about the civil rights on his podcast and spoke against it. Let me see. Yeah, they don't like the facts. They don't like the facts being brought out. Oh, yeah, he spoke once a week against it. Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk, who called Martin Luther King an awful person. That came out of his mouth. He called him an awful person. You see, what I'm saying is true. And that truth bothers y'all. That truth bothers a lot of MAGA that he actually said that about Martin Luther King. All they could do is say, "You're a liar." Listen, let's go there. Let's go. And you know, I've already done all of this. I've already brung this out. If you've been on my platform for any amount of time, watching my coverage on Charlie Kirk, you'll find it. You will find it. Now, oh, there's more, ladies and gentlemen. There is more. First, let's continue listening to my reaction, and we're going to bring out more on Kirk. Yes, indeed. Let's see where we at with it. All right.
The civil rights movement created a beast that has turned into an anti-white weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, how could our civil rights turn into an anti-white weapon? So not only did Charlie Kirk have podcasts and shows weekly about why we should have never had the civil rights movement, he took it a step further right here, and he said that the civil rights movement is an anti-white weapon. How is our freedom? How is our civil liberties and rights? How is us not being considered 3/5 of a man? How is us having the right to vote? Having the right to have equal rights, civil rights, to live civilly without anybody impeding on us physically and pretty much destroying our people. How is
Now,
that?
for everybody in the chat, first of all, everybody in the chat that keeps saying victim. No, Charlie Kirk was a victim. Charlie Kirk was a victim. He's no longer here with us because he was a victim of high-profile white-on-white crime. I'm no victim. We're no victims. We're just bringing out facts. All right? The victim would be the person who was taken out by their own kind. That would be the victim. He was a victim to a racially fueled hierarchy that claimed his life. All right? So all this, you're a black victim. No. Y'all not about to shift blame here. We're not about to do that. No. We're not about to shift blame. What we're going to do right now is focus on the extremism that's going on and the fact that America has been broken down into fractions. And it seems to be suspected white supremacist groups who are clashing with each other like it's damn Clash with the Titans. Let's try to focus on that. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. Look, we've already fought for our civil rights and we won that battle. So regardless of what Kirk's thoughts were regarding the civil rights movement, we still have our civil rights. Can I get an amen? We still have our civil rights. Our ancestors fought for us. Our ancestors got us our civil rights, so we can't be packed up and shipped out and done like a lot of people are being done right now with ICE. They can't do that to us legally. Why? Because we fought for our civil rights. So somebody said, so why complain? It's not about complaining. It's about pointing out the hypocrisy and proving the fact that AOC was correct in her assessment of what was said and done, right?
Should bail out his brutal assailant and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it.
And Jews don't control nothing. it's white supremacy that control everything. We're not going for that. Everybody always want to blame the Jews, especially white supremacists. Hey, dude, it's the Jews. Let's all come together and fight the Jews. First of all, y'all gave them the land over there in 1948. Y'all gave them in the Balfour Agreement. Y'all gave them the land. So why the hell are we going to team up with white supremacists to fight the Jews? No, we're not going to do that. God controls everything. And just because y'all beefing with each other and going back and forth and y'all got all this divide and all of that, we don't care. We don't care. See, black people, we're not getting involved in that. We don't have nothing against any of the Jews. We don't have nothing against them. And if we did, it would be something different. They doing what they doing, y'all doing what y'all doing. Y'all all in the same book. Y'all on the same page. Because I'm going to ask y'all this. This is why we not aligning ourselves with them, with these white supremacists who got a problem with Jews. This is why we're not aligning ourselves. Because I want you to hear me out. When black people in America was claiming to be God's people, where was white supremacists? When we were claiming to be God's people in the Bible, where were y'all at? And for whoever's saying report this channel, delete that person, because I haven't said anything that's worth being reported. You just don't like my opinion, but that's what freedom of speech is. Yeah, anybody who's doing that, block them. Block them. And a lot of them are just trolls anyway. A lot of them are just trolls. A lot of them are bots because they're afraid of truth.
Unquote. So, Michael, was this necessary? Why did she go this direction? And by the way, the dozens of Democrats that voted against the resolution to honor Charlie Kirk, 95 yes votes. This is the tally. Okay. 38 present, 22 didn't vote. What?
So, this was a unanimous decision from the left and the right.
Now you see why I don't pick a side. It's a unanimous decision. And that's why I say all the time, my battle is not against the right. My battle is not against the left. My battle is not against Groypers. My battle is not against Turning Point USA. My battle is not against the Jews, as y'all call them. My battle is against white supremacy. At the end of the day. At the end of the day. Because guess what? The Democrats, they voted for this honorary day, and so did the Republicans. And I say this all the time. The Republicans, they're outright with their white nationalist views. The Democrats, they on the low with it. They pander to us. They want to destroy us through liberty. They want us to be liberated to do wickedness and evil because they know our God would destroy us for that. And the right, they like, no, look, those people aren't as degenerate as you think they are, and we got to engage them. We got to engage them. We got to send military. We got to send brute force. So you got two racist. The whole government's racist, bro. Listen, this whole thing was built on white supremacies. Watch movies like The Gangs of New York and all of that. So we don't get involved in all of these left versus right. I don't care. And I speak for all black men. So what I say really matters, right? We don't care about Democrats, Republicans. We don't care about none of that. Only thing we care about is truth. What's true?
So, and that's a little bit concerning because you would have thought that the left would have been giving more pushback, but they seem to be in line with what appears to be some type of dictatorship.
Yeah, I do speak for all black men. And if you think otherwise, go make a channel and you speak. But while I'm over here in my domain, I speak for all of us. And I'm telling you, we don't care about the left or the right. We're not picking a side. The day of picking sides is done. We're not doing that no more. That's right. Real 80 says Charlie Kirk vehemently opposed affirmative action. Yeah, it was essential to the civil rights movement, breaking down barriers and ensuring true equality. Exactly. That's just the truth
that America's going into. I believe that the left is just going to, give the country into the hands of the right because they believe it's more than likely more effective towards condemning and brutalizing God's people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. Listen, so y'all don't think I'm being negative about it because everything is going to reverse back on them. Everything that they're doing to come against God's chosen ones.
And yeah, so that I'm very clear about this, I don't think none of this is negative. I think it's all part of God's plan. I think everything that we see happening, the Bible says not a leaf falls from a tree without the Most High's approval, right? It's all part of God's plan. Now, look, y'all keep calling me liars, and y'all
Kirk self-described
y'all called the AOC a liar. Y'all say that she was lying. Well, let's just bring out what he thought about the civil rights movement, because y'all say the lady's lying.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical.
He said it's true. He said it's true that he said Martin Luther King's a bad guy. That's the guy who pretty much, if it wasn't for Martin Luther King, it wouldn't be no civil rights for us at this moment. So listen up. Let's get to the facts. He said it. He confirmed that he said it.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
It's true. He said, we know in our piece that Kirk describes Martin Luther King as a bad guy. It's true. He said it. Let's go.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
He called Martin Luther King a bad guy.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
Oh, man. Why he keep running that back?
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
Hold on. Let me drink. I got MAGA tears. Hold on. MAGA tears. Hold on. Let's go. Let's get back.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
Man, nothing like MAGA tears in the afternoon. Let's go.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And we note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
What? Hold on. What? He said the country made a mistake passing the Civil Rights Act. Also what?
That the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. That the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
Once a week, they talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Oh, dirty MAGA, they done fled. They done fled by the thousands. Good gracious. They said, oh, damn, he got us. He got us. Flee. Abandon ship. So hold on. Not only did he agree Not only did he agree with what the email read, not only did he agree with it, but he said, yeah, you know, we talk about this once a week. We talk about this once a week. No, this video is not edited. Don't lie on me. Don't come in here lying. Don't spread your suspected white supremacist lies on me. I didn't edit nothing. Matter of fact, let's go back.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
He said that the country made a mistake. So how did AOC lie? I'm trying to figure out what lie did she tell. Let's go.
As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong.
He used to be wrong. So he said he used to be wrong about his thoughts on Martin Luther King. He said, I used to be wrong thinking that civil rights was a good thing. I was wrong. All right. That's what he said.
What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK?
What inspired you to shift your gears on Martin Luther King? Why would you call him a bad person? It's Martin Luther King.
Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy?
Why do you think that, Kirk?
When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do it at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
So once a week he talks about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. He talks about it once a week why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Where did the AOC lie? Where did she lie? Where was it a lie? Where did she smear Charlie? Where did she smear him? He said it. Y'all got the context. We're not going to play the whole stream he did. We don't even have that whole stream. You know why we don't have the whole stream? Because they took it off. Oh, they upset. Oh, he said it. He confirmed that he believes Martin Luther King. Oh man, we gotta go back again, y'all. I mean, MAGA, they kind of slow. Like MAGA's kind of slow in their head. Watch.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
He said we know in our piece that Kirk explains Martin Luther King as a bad guy. So does Kirk look at Martin Luther King as a good guy or a bad guy? Because y'all MAGA raging right now. Does Kirk look at Martin Luther King as a good guy or a bad guy? Come on, like let's get it, because this is amazing. This is amazing.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
It's true. He just confirmed that.
And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
He believes that civil rights was a bad idea. He said he confirmed that he believes this. Charlie Kirk just confirmed that he believes that the Civil Rights Act was a bad idea, and he thinks Martin Luther King is a bad person. Charlie Kirk said that. So where did AOC lie?
As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do it at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
So not only did Kirk out of his own mouth, this is what I'm talking about, rewriting history, bro. Not only did he agree out of his own mouth that MLK is a bad guy and that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, but he then got frustrated because he explains this every week why he thinks the civil rights movement shouldn't have been put in. Every week. Man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, that's wild, bro. Man. Oh man. Let's just have a sip of these MAGA tears, bro, because they can't even accept facts when it's presented to them. Oh man, just bask in this black greatness that you're witnessing. Oh man, it's like it's there. He said it. That's his words. I just went to his words. Have some of these good MAGA tears. Oh man, that's refreshing. Oh man, MAGA tears in the afternoon just revitalizes me. It's just something about MAGA tears in the afternoon. It just revitalizes me altogether, man. It just jumpstarts my day. It just, you start your day off with just MAGA tears. It just jumpstarts everything. Man, they are pissed, bro. They are pissed off. That's funny. That's funny, y'all. That's funny. He said what he said. He said what he said. He said it. And then he turned around and said this. He got a whole holiday for himself, but he also said this.
Okay, everybody, a lot of people are going to be saying happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work.
Y'all hear that?
Okay, everybody, a lot of people are going to be saying happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work.
But he got a federal holiday. But he just got a federal holiday. Oh, they try to bump me on out. Oh, man. But he got a federal holiday. All I'm doing is pointing out hypocrisy. Now let's go back to what AOC had to say. Now with all what we just looked at, let's go to AOC and see, did she lie? Did this Brooklyn native lie? Did this woman of color here lie? Let's go.
Thank gentleman Representative Green for his graciousness. Today, the Republican House majority brought to the floor a resolution honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's assassination was a horrific and vile attack.
And I agree wholeheartedly that, that vicious, vile attack, nobody wanted to see that in the nation. Nobody wanted to see that, right? We all agree on that. Listen, everybody viewing, look, if we can agree on one thing, none of us wanted to see that man get popped like that, right? So let's just all agree on that. That was a heinous act. But we can also agree that nobody wanted to see Martin Luther King get popped either. Can we all agree on that? That we didn't want to see Malcolm X get assassinated in front of his family either. We didn't want to see JFK get assassinated in front of his family either. Can we all agree on that? Can we come together in unison and agree that none of us wanted to see George Floyd get a knee to his neck publicly, right? Although there's been people who have celebrated that, people who were doing the George Floyd challenge, or people who were Trayvoning, taking pictures laid out with hoodies on with Skittles, right? None of us wanted to see any of that. Can we all agree on that? Yep, and for everybody lying, exactly, Real Eddies, for everybody lying on Nubreed, please provide context. Right. Please provide context, because people say things, but they can't provide any context. They're liars. They're liars.
An incident of political violence.
None of us want to see this political violence, but it's always been going on. None of us want to see Tamir Rice taken down. None of us wanted to see Black Wall Street or Rosewood get taken down either. And we should all agree that Black people deserve to have civil rights, right?
And condemning the depravity of Kirk's brutal murder is a straightforward matter, one that is especially important to help stabilize an increasingly unsafe and volatile.
Right, provide the context. For everybody who's saying I'm lying on Charlie Kirk and his take on things, provide the context. Everybody keeps saying context, context. You provide the context, because the burden of proof is now on you to prove that Charlie Kirk didn't have those viewpoints, even though we just heard it out of his own mouth. The burden of proof would be on you. Now, I know some of y'all got a deep, thick Neanderthal skull and your IQs are low and you don't understand, astute observation or comprehension at all. But what we need you to do is provide the context. If I'm wrong, you provide the context. Or we're going to keep drinking these MAGA tears. Let's go.
A political environment where everyday people feel more at risk. We can deeply disagree and come together as a country to denounce.
And also, that's right, Real 80s. And don't go to him, don't go to Charlie Kirk when he would contradict himself, because he would speak out of two sides of his mouth. So don't go find another video where he's saying something that's opposing to what he said. That's not proving anything. That's just proving his own hypocrisy. What you do to prove it is you have to find a video and prove the context of the video. Other than that, you're not talking about nothing. Let's go.
That's the horror of this killing. And it is not a license for the abuse of power and whitewashing of American history.
Agreed.
Today's resolution only underscores the majority's recklessness.
The majority. So right now, this woman right here, AOC, I applaud her because she's going against the majority. She's not going against Republicans. This woman is not, coming in the auspice of being a Democrat, which she is and has been that. But that's not what she's talking about right now. She's going in on the majority right now.
By choosing to author this condemnation and honoring on a purely partisan basis, instead of uniting.
And everybody who's in agreement with what I'm talking about and agreement with AOC, double tap the stream right now to get the likes up. It's important that you get the likes up and show what your thoughts are, because, there's a lot of MAGA in the building, but we have to show that our people are also, because this is a public forum and we're voting right now. And the power of agreements is very important. So double tap if you are in agreements. If you're not, you ain't got to be. It is what it is.
Congress in this tragedy with one of the many bipartisan options to condemn political violence and Kirk's murder, as we did.
And we condemn political violence.
With the late Melissa Hortman. Instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who after the—
Now, we proved that to be true. He said it was a mistake. He said it. How is this woman smearing him? Listen, if she was smearing him, right? Erica Kirk would have been able to sue her for defamation. But guess what? If that went to court, that's getting thrown out. If she was lying and smearing, that's defamation of character. Erica Kirk will have a field day with this very popular politician. But guess why they can't do it? Because she has proof. She didn't say it without having proof. This is not defamation when you have the receipts, when you have him saying it out of his own mouth. And we already played the proof in the chat. We'll go back and play it. Somebody said, let's see the proof. We'll go back. As soon as she's done, stick around and we'll go play the proof. Let's go.
A violent attack on Paul Pelosi claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should.
And my minister information, we could pull that up too. If you can grab that clip where he said about the Pelosi family, about, you know, somebody need to bail the dude out. We gotta bring that out too, to show that she didn't smear this man at all. Look.
Unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant.
Yep. Paul Pelosi, she said, Kirk said we need to bail him out, basically. That's what she said. That's what she said about Charlie Kirk, and that's true.
And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it.
Now, you know, we don't agree with, look, we agree with her on that. We tired of this whole boogeyman thing y'all got going on, trying to blame those people over there. Those people in Israel don't got nothing to do with what's going on in America. They don't have nothing to do with it. You know, those people over there got their own conflicts going on, and nobody, look, the people over there in Israel didn't make them make sundown towns. The people in Israel didn't make them lynch us over here in America. There was nobody in Israel that was responsible for allegedly lynching, you know, the young man in Delta State University, Trey Reed. So we don't care about none of that. Stop trying to shift the blame. That's y'all's problem.
Unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant.
And somebody said shilling for Israel. See, that's because you want me to align myself with you. Y'all are all the same to me. I don't care, right? I'm not lining myself up to fight anybody in Israel or go against anybody over there. They don't have nothing to do with what we got going on in our country.
Uneducated and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. It is equally important.
They said, somebody in the chat said this woman is evil. How? She told the truth.
That Congress does unite to reject the government's attempt to weaponize this moment into an all-out assault on free speech across the country, all in the name of Charlie Kirk. President Trump and the FCC are now cynically threatening to shut down ABC and any outlets who give airtime to the administration's political critics. This is a disgusting attack.
This look like a dictatorship we about to have.
Attack on the American people and the very First Amendment rights that define us as a country. It is also the ABC Corporation's responsibility to refuse to embolden and participate in this corruption and escalation of censorship. We continue to pray for Mr. Kirk's family and loved ones in the wake of this terrible act.
And we will continue to, you know, do what she said, right, on that.
I am thinking especially of his children and his wife, whose grief cannot be measured.
Right. Mike TV, thank you for the support, my brother. I appreciate you. Salute to Mike TV. I actually have caught a couple of your videos back in the day. You do good work, man. Thank you for the support. Says, nice take. I appreciate your perspective. Thank you for raising awareness to how these fools antagonize our community and our ancestors. Absolutely, brother. Thank you. I appreciate the support.
And with that, I yield back to the gentleman.
Right. I mean, now for those who said that she's lying, y'all said she lying. Y'all said she's spreading false information. What's this?
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical.
Hold on. He said it's true. What else?
View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true.
Hold on. What? So when she said that he made a mistake, that's with his beliefs, that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, Kirk said it.
Made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. View that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do it at least once a week, right? Once a week, we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
Once a week, they talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. So what we have here is Charlie Kirk just confirmed that he did say Martin Luther King was an awful man. He also confirmed that he believes that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. And then he also confirmed that they talk about it once a week. So that's why she was able to say what she said, because it's not smearing. It's not defamation. If anything, Fox News defamed her. Yeah. And if listen, if Erica Kirk was to bring AOC to a court of law, listen, she getting shut. Listen, AOC is winning that hands down. Why? Because you have proof right here. This is proof. Yeah. Somebody keeps saying finish the clip. We just played the whole clip. Let's play the whole clip again.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week, we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
So there you go. He believes the Civil Rights Act is a mistake. And what else did Kirk say? What else did Kirk say? Now, first of all, AOC, she said something very interesting about Kirk. About, hold on, what was it? I'm trying to remember what else she said about him. Oh yeah, about Pelosi, about the guy getting bailed out after the heinous attack on her husband. That's what she said.
And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like 30 or 40,000 bucks.
Did she lie on him? And Pelosi's husband was a victim of political violence. Kirk said whoever bashed his head in, you know what would be great? If somebody go bail him out.
And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet.
Oh man, I mean, wow.
And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like 30 or 40,000 bucks. Bail him out and then go ask him some questions.
Wow. And he said this with a smile on his face. He said this with a smile on his face. Look, I'm all giddy and stuff. And see, look, I see a lot of the white Southern Baptist Christians in here. Listen, their racism is really showing. Mrs. Ward says he was being sarcastic. So, Mrs. Ward, do you think it's fine for him to be sarcastic about a person who just got their head bashed in? Ma'am, this is not sarcasm. This would be considered more like, I don't know, celebrating political violence. This would go more in the vein of someone who is, happy about the political violence that took place. This is not sarcasm, man. Yeah, and look at the chat, y'all. Look at MAGA excusing this evil. Just pay attention to how hateful these people are. Just pay attention to it. Just pay attention to it, y'all. They're excusing this evil.
And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like $30,000 or $40,000.
So really, he was perpetuating political violence. He said, look, somebody needs to go bail the guy out that bashed Nancy Pelosi's husband's head in with a damn bat. We should go bail him out. So he perpetuated political violence. Stop playing. Kalena, thank you for the support, says no one wants anyone to be killed for speaking freely, but they are making it like Charlie Kirk's life matter more than other people's lives, whose lives were ruined or were martyred for free speech. Mahalo for using your voice. Right. Even also, there was an actual school shooting on the day that Charlie Kirk died. But his coverage overshadowed another mass shooting that took place. And so we act like other people's lives don't matter. All the political prisoners that we have who were silenced for speaking truth. Black Republican, thank you for the support. Said, why can't you acknowledge that he referred to the Civil Rights Act, not civil rights? Research Thomas Sowell, 95-year-old black man from Harvard. Listen, why can't you acknowledge that he spoke against us having the Civil Rights Act, which includes our right to vote? No, look, let me do it this way. Black Republicans, should we have the right to vote? Because the civil rights had a lot of, it had a whole lot of different characteristics to it. The actual act itself. Have you read the Civil Rights Act? See, because y'all like to deflect. Y'all like to deflect. Now, that's how I will ask you. The burden of proof is on you at this point. Black Republican, my question is, what in the Civil Rights Act do you personally disagree with? Tell me what you disagree with in the Civil Rights Act. And we'll go from there. Anyway, let's go.
Bail him out and then go ask him some questions. And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to...
And the Civil Rights Act didn't have nothing to do with the LGBT.
Really be a midterm hero.
So don't try to put that in there either, because people like to lie on that.
Someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like $30,000 or $40,000. Bail him out and then go ask him some questions.
So is he not pushing political violence? Yeah, he gonna say affirmative action. But why though? Right. But why though? So here you have it. Why do people keep saying play the whole clip? What are y'all on right now? Y'all gotta be bots. We just played the whole clip several times of Charlie Kirk saying the person who bashed Nancy Pelosi's husband's head with a bat should be bailed out. You don't hear us saying the person who put a bullet in his neck should be bailed out. You don't hear anybody saying that. Yeah, forget playing the whole clip. Go watch the whole video. If you want to go watch the whole Charlie Kirk video, go watch it. What are you talking about? Let me sip these MAGA tears real quick. Hold on. I needed that refresher right there. Had to go. Listen, I needed another boost of energy. Had to drink these MAGA tears because y'all be in the chat going off. Y'all be just raging out. Y'all just be raging out in the chat. Yeah. Stop it. Stop it, y'all. Dirty MAGA, get some help, man. Get some help.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day. I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. I want to see him on a public block and get him be publicly executed. And I think that would be justice. You think children should have, you should see, what is the age? At what age should you start to see public executions?
16.
I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12,
Whenever-
6th grade or so. You are a person, they're old enough to, you don't need to like really wallow in it and have them be broken on a.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, who is he talking about right now? And this, I believe this one is pretty recent. He was talking about some young brother. Oh man, it's gonna come to me soon. In context, who he's talking about. But they were talking about people getting public executions. And he was talking about a young black man, or at least alluding. Let's use this word. He was alluding to a young black man. I just can't remember who it was, right? Can't remember who it was. But he believed in public executions. The black Republican, he says the EEOC was created with the Civil Rights Act, the beginning of DEI. We don't need handouts for being black. Kirk believed in mediocrity. Well, listen, after 500 years of subjugation, Jim Crow, slavery, we need more than handouts. On this platform here, we believe we should have our reparations. We should have our reparations that was actually promised to us. Let alone us have the ability to have jobs. Goodness. It's like some of y'all don't want us to have nothing. Don't give them niggas nothing. Don't give them reparations. Don't give them niggas jobs. Don't give them niggas nothing. I mean, damn. Y'all got a problem with everything. Y'all don't want don't give them niggas no jobs. We don't need black pilots. Black surgeons. You niggas ain't got the thought capacity to be somebody's surgeon. Y'all, Uncle Ruckus has just entered the house, y'all. Uncle Ruckus is in the building. Affirmative action. Leave them niggas in the field. They should have never gave you niggas a job. Why would y'all have affirmative action? Now we gotta walk around and see black doctors and you niggas think you special. You can read, write, do arithmetic. You dance, you eat up all the chicken. And now you want the good white man's jobs? Hold on, let me drink these MAGA tears. Hold on. MAGA tears. Gotta have the MAGA tears, y'all. I mean, goodness. It be our own people come out there, man. They gave you nigga jobs. I'm talking about, come on, man. Yeah, listen, America was built on diversity. Why y'all got a problem with diversity for? Yep, since early 2023, U.S. employees have eliminated more than 2,600 jobs with words including diversity or DEI. How is this okay? And how does this help? Yeah, how does firing black people help? How does firing blacks and Hispanic people help the country? Like, why would this brother who claimed to be a Republican, why would he be upset that we got jobs? I don't get it. Some of y'all's aunties and mothers wouldn't have been able to put food on y'all's table if it wasn't for DEI. What are you talking about? I'm from DC. And all our aunties and mothers and all of that, they was working government jobs. And they was more so because of DEI. People lost their jobs because of this. Like, have you forgot why your aunties and uncles and mothers was able to put food on the table? Like, what's wrong with y'all? It's like y'all on the wrong side of history with this, but God sees all that. God sees all of this, man. He see what's being done to our people.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better.
So he want to see a public execution, you know? So, hey, it's unfortunate. That's how he went out. It's unfortunate.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. I want to see him on a public block and get him be publicly executed. And I think that would be justice. You think children should have, you should see, what is the age? At what age should you start to see public executions?
16.
I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12.
Whenever
sixth graders.
Wow. See, recent reports indicate that over 69,000 federal positions were slashed by mid-2025. See? And there was a lot of black women who worked in the government, especially in DC. There's a lot of federal jobs that got cut. Also, I had a special guest on the show not too long ago. I had Jesus Ruiz on the show, who exposed what took place at the VA. I had a gentleman on here that he was on Fox News, CNN, all of it. Had him on the program. And he was breaking down what those DEI cuts did and how it even affected our veterans in a negative way because of DEI cuts and people who were actually in position to help. Veterans lost jobs. So it didn't just affect, if you so American, if you so Republican, it didn't just affect us, it affected veterans. People's Fitness, thank you for the support. I appreciate the support.
So you were a person, they're old enough.
Let me see. Black Republican comes back and says, because it's based on giving someone a better chance over color and sexual preference instead of who is actually best for the job. Listen, you have no real proof on that. What data and analytics can you use to prove that except for the media saying that? Because Charlie Kirk is the same one who called Barack Obama's wife and a host of other DEI hires who DEI college tuitions, and those people actually pass with flying colors. Those people earn everything. The DEI just gave them the opportunity, sir. The DEI gave them the opportunity to pretty much to display what they're capable of. Before the DEI, they didn't have those opportunities. Meanwhile, this guy graduated from a community college with a 2.0 grade average. What are we talking about? He graduated with a 2.0 from a community college. Somebody said, Bree, what did you graduate? The School of Hard Knocks. That's where I graduated. Self-educated and well-studied. But I'm not the one saying they shouldn't be DEI hires. I'm not the one saying that. He is. Yeah, I'm very much educated from the School of Hard Knocks. Yeah. Oh, MAGA pissed off. But anyway, man, nonetheless, I wanted to come through with this broadcast. I got more material coming. Y'all stick around. I'm going back live. I'm going to do a regular long form video. I'm coming back in a few minutes. MAGA, feel free to join. The next one really going to piss. If you think this one pissed you off, wait till the next stream. I got more to bring out. We're going to do an actual horizontal stream. So make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe and go ahead and turn them notifications on. We coming back. We coming right back. But I'll see y'all in a minute. Peace and blessings.